Jay McDermott. I work for Q13 Fox News. I do the morning weather, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. every morning. And how about that weather today? That's for you, all of you. I'm honored to be here tonight. Thank you, candidates, and also all the citizens here today. I think this is going to be an amazing year in the legislature for education. So many key issues coming up. It's just a wonderful opportunity to hear how people feel about all these key issues, from healthcare to security to math, a personal favorite of mine, and then there's recess. Just so much to talk about. And speaking of math, I also want to say I'm honored to be in Tacoma, the only school district in the state to have adopted Saxon math. Give yourselves an outstanding curriculum. So, enough said. I'm glad to be honored to be here tonight on behalf of Region 10 PTA. PTA, I know I need my glasses. Washington State PTA is a nonpartisan organization that has been advocating for children's health, safety, education, protection, and general welfare for over a century. And the goal of tonight's forum is to discuss issues focused on kids and education with candidates for legislative office in the 26th to the 29th districts. The forum should be a neutral territory for a sharing of philosophy, ideas, and information, not campaigning. The format tonight will consist of 4 parts. 3 prepared questions will be posed to the 26th district candidates, the same question to be answered by all candidates with a 2-minute time limit. How many minutes? 2. Mary Ann Howell and Carrie Wilkinson are our timers, and they will hold up a 30-second card as their time runs out and sound a horn when the candidates must stop talking. I'm going to get it all in tonight. 3 prepared questions will then be posed to the 27th, 28th, and 29th district candidates, the same question to be answered by all candidates. And then we'll have questions submitted from the audience. As you walked in, audience, you received an index card. You can write a question down for a particular candidate. Each index card should have only 1 question and should say to whom the question is being directed. And cards will be gathered by Diane Larson, over there, during the break when our 26th district candidates change places with the 27th and 29th district, 27th through 29th district candidates. They will be screened before being turned over to the moderator, and there will be a 1-minute time limit for the candidate to respond to the question directed to her or him. And then the question will be opened up to comment by the other candidates that wish to respond, but total discussion not to exceed 5 minutes per question. You guys got that over there? Okay. All questions must be in writing. There will be no verbal interaction between the audience and the candidates during the forum. Questions turned in will be screened for appropriateness and combined whenever it makes sense to do so. And we will conclude with a 1-minute statement by each candidate. So now please join me in welcoming our 26th district candidates tonight, including, and just raise your hand when I say your name, and if I pronounce it incorrectly, please forgive me. Representative Derek Kilmer, Democrat from Gig Harbor for State Senator. Jim Hines, Republican from Gig Harbor for State Senator. For State Representative Position 1, Becky Krantz, Republican from Gig Harbor. And Representative Patricia Lance, Democrat from Gig Harbor. For State Representative Position 2, Ron Beamey, Republican from Port Orchard, and Larry Sequist, Democrat from Gig Harbor. All right. Question number 1, and I think I'll go down the list exactly as we did the first time, and then switch your guys' positions the second time. Is that all right? Sure. All right. So first up, Representative Derek Kilmer, Democrat for Gig Harbor, and all of you answer the same question. So pay attention. Class size reduction is an issue of great importance to Washington State PTA, and 6 years ago, Washington voters overwhelmingly approved Initiative 728 to help keep class sizes in our schools manageable. It is funded out of the Education Legacy Trust Fund, which is funded in part by state taxes. If you support Initiative 920 that would repeal Washington's estate tax, would you seek to replace the revenue it generates for the Education Legacy Trust Fund? Would you set reducing K-3 class size as the priority use for additional I-728 funds as recommended in the draft report of Washington Learns? So first up, Derek Kilmer.
Thank you. I think that if you look at the studies, it says something very simple, and that is class size matters. Quality time with the quality teacher is what drives performance of our students, and consequently, I think it needs to be prioritized whether or not 720, whether or not Initiative 920 passes or not, we need to make sure that the class size initiative is funded. And I would certainly support doing that.
And now Jim Hines.
Yeah, actually, I would vote to repeal the estate tax, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't fund class size reductions for our early grades. And it's a matter of where we get the money and how we organize these things. And actually, while class size does matter, it's not the only driver of student performance. As a matter of fact, there's multiple studies that have shown throughout the United States that actually teacher performance and quality of children is the main driver of student performance, even at early ages. But I agree on the fact that what we did a few years ago to try to reduce class sizes was a quality thing to do for our education system.
All right. And now Becky Krantz.
Thank you. And I also wanted to reiterate that I'm happy to be here in Tacoma too, where they've instituted the Saxon Math program. I think that's terrific, and I'm looking forward to finding out how that works. Yes, I think that class size is very important, and I would support keeping class sizes small, and I think that should be a priority of government to do that. We have to make priorities, and I think that should be one of our priorities. Fully funding education should be the top priority of government. And I'd go beyond that. I'd like to see, I know that we have a shortage of math teachers and science teachers, and I'd like to see engineers, Microsoft engineers, Boeing engineers. I'm a computer programmer, so I love math. And I'd like to see those people, when they retire, be able to come into the public schools and teach in their areas of expertise, in the areas that they're passionate about. So I go beyond that and want to increase the pool of potential teachers to bring them in and add to the math and science programs.
All right, and Representative Patricia Lance.
Thank you. It's easy to talk rhetorically about decreasing class size and fully funding education. That's rhetoric, however, until you find funds for them. I was proud to be in the legislature when we were once again able to fund Initiative 728, not completely and not forever, but we funded it to the extent that it was a remarkable accomplishment given the ups and downs we've had in revenue over the years in the legislature. I think that the Education Legacy Trust Fund that is funded through the estate tax is a responsible and value-laden kind of effort, and I certainly do support the trust fund being funded through the estate tax, and we'll be voting to repeal, we'll be voting no on the repeal.
All right. Ron Baby.
Yeah, thanks for coming today. I have a fairly extensive background in education, even from both a public, private, and homeschooling standpoint. And I actually directed an organization called Youth with a Mission, which is a global, one of the larger global kids and family works around the world. And I've worked fairly extensively in the South Kitsap school system too, on both the curriculum committee and helping raise funds for athletic programs and quite a number of things, starting a mentoring program also. I'm not in favor of the estate tax, the death tax, because I think it's an unfair tax. But I do agree with Becky that education is the paramount responsibility of the state. Our caucus believes actually that education should be funded first in a separate budget. If I go to Olympia, I'd love to bring in that idea. And so I'm totally in favor of. I've noticed some statistics that class sizes have shrunk over the last 30 years from about 25 to 1 to 16 to 1 nationally, but in Washington they say it's 19 to 1 is what I've heard. So that's close to the national average, not quite as good. I generally favor that. If we take away the estate tax money, I'd like to find it from some other place.
And Larry Sequist.
I'm an absolute no with an exclamation point on I-920. We already have a state with an extremely regressive tax system. On class size, my sister-in-law is an elementary school teacher down in Skamania County. I was asking her about her sense of class size, and she said not only it's what the statistics, the evidence is showing in Washington learns that we've got to pay special attention to kindergarten through third class size, but that the kids now versus those 5 to 10 years ago are much more needy. She thinks we need to come down even a little bit more because they need adult contact. So I would be a strong supporter of using the Washington Learns recommendations to make sure that we're fully funded. And I want to warn you, however, that I'm nervous that Washington Learns is going to turn out to be a little bit softer, a pitch to the legislature than we were hoping for. It's getting a little poetic and a little bit soft, and we're going to have to do some serious work, mostly in explaining to the public why we need to do this. I think the real work of class size is the work that's going to be accomplished with the public, not just in the legislature next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 2, it addresses access to children's health care. Access to health care is a necessity for all children in our state, as it is known that sick children do poorer academically, and poor children are diagnosed with diseases typically considered adult diseases. Therefore, how do you expect access to health care for children in our state to improve in the coming 5 years? What sort of legislation would you support in order to ensure that all children have health care? Let's go in the other direction. Larry Sequist.
Yeah, we need to do this very fast. The governor's got a program where we're gradually trying to get to the place where everyone under 18 in the state has health care. I would personally think we've got to go much faster to make sure that all children have health care insurance, that they're getting annual physicals, they're getting their vaccinations. We have an astonishing disaster unfolding in this country in which the current generation, the kids who come to this library and read in the kids' reading room, have a shorter lifespan than my generation does. That's an stunning reversal of American progress. So we've got to turn that around, and we need to do some heavy lifting in the legislature. One of the causes of that is this epidemic of childhood diabetes and early onset obesity and childhood diabetes. That's an avalanche. It's going to sink us. The costs of that diabetes epidemic overwhelm anything that we'll spend on preventive child care for our kids at those young ages.
All right. Ron Bainey.
Healthcare is one of the big issues of our time. It's not an easy issue. It's complex, has a number of aspects to it. I believe that we strongly need incentives related in the area of personal responsibility and accountability for our health. If people are taken out of the equation and some entity simply pays for things, the whole system's going to collapse and be very corrupt. We also need competitive market forces within healthcare. I should mention that my dad was a doctor for 50 years in Port Orchard. My mom was the head of occupational health for the whole western region of the country for the last 10 years of her career, 50-year nursing career. I talked a lot with them about healthcare. My dad would not practice medicine in the state today in the current state of the way the healthcare system is being managed. He simply would not do it and couldn't do it. And that's why doctors are leaving the state. So what do I think the answers are? Dealing with some of the mandates, 50 of them that stop a diverse array of programs being offered, especially catastrophic care and certain plans that would help kids and families can afford certain kinds of policies. I believe we need to encourage health savings accounts. In the health area, you kind of have two approaches, moving more toward government control or toward private control. I lean in the private direction. My opinion is in two other forms. He likes the healthcare system of Cuba. I don't, because the government system goes with it.
All right. And now, Patricia Lanz.